My name is Nikki, and I'm 22 years old. From the moment I opened my eyes, the world around me sparkled with wealth, power, and perfection. I was born into a family that people talk about in luxury magazines and business circles. My father is one of the most powerful businessmen in the country, and my mother, graceful and elegant, was once a top model who now runs a charity foundation. In my world, last names carry weight. Ours, it opens doors that others don't even know exist. I grew up in a mansion that felt more like a royal estate. Crystal chandeliers, marble staircases, velvet curtains, and rooms that echoed because they were so large. My bedroom had walls hand-painted by artists and a walk-in closet full of designer labels I didn't even ask for. We had a personal chef, multiple drivers, security guards, and staff that knew more about my daily routine than I did. To the world, I had everything: the perfect life, the perfect family, the perfect smile. But behind the luxury, there was something no one saw, something I didn't even fully understand as a child. Just because I had everything didn't mean I had myself. I was raised to play a role. Be graceful, be polite, be intelligent, but not too opinionated. Speak well, but not too loud. Smile. Always smile. I wasn't just a daughter. I was a symbol, a brand, a living, breathing image of what the family wanted the world to see. I never got to choose who I wanted to be. That choice was made for me before I even knew how to spell my name, and I followed the script. For a long time, I played the part. I attended charity events in designer gowns. I gave speeches written for me. I posed for pictures, shook hands with important people, and got used to being looked at more than listened to. But somewhere deep inside, a voice kept whispering, a quiet question that refused to go away. Who are you, Nikki? Not the perfect daughter, not the heiress, not the Sharma legacy. Just you. Who are you, really? At 22, I finally understand what I was feeling back then. I wasn't spoiled. I wasn't ungrateful. I was just a girl born into a world of gold, searching for something no one could buy. My identity. Absolutely. Here's a point number 2. Of Nikki's story, written in a broad, emotionally detailed, and personal style to match the tone of the first point. From the outside, my life looked like a fairy tale. I lived in a house so big, I used to get lost in it as a child. My toys were imported. My birthdays were covered in local magazines. I wore custom-made dresses, rode ponies, and had my own driver before I even knew how to tie my own shoelaces. People envied my life. They said I was lucky, that I was living the dream. But the truth is, I didn't feel like I was living. I felt like I was performing. Every day of my childhood was scripted. What I wore, what I said, how I sat, how I smiled. It was all carefully designed to fit the image of the perfect daughter from the perfect family. My schedule was packed with piano lessons, French tutors, etiquette training, charity events, and media appearances. I wasn't allowed to make mistakes, to cry in public, to speak out of turn. I wasn't even allowed to have a bad day. Because girls like me don't have bad days. At least, that's what I was told. The worst part? I started believing it. I started hiding my real feelings because they didn't fit the version of me everyone expected. When I was sad, I smiled. When I was angry, I stayed quiet. When I wanted to run away, I stayed seated, legs crossed, back straight, head held high. But inside, I felt small, invisible, trapped. I remember one moment so clearly. I was about 12 years old. We were at this grand event. People in gowns, lights flashing, cameras clicking. I was standing next to my parents, smiling for pictures. Everyone said I looked like a princess. But that night, when I got back to my room, I stared at myself in the mirror and whispered, "Who is this girl?" I didn't recognize her. I didn't even feel like she was me. I had everything I could ever need, except the freedom to be myself. And the more I followed the rules, the more I felt like I was losing the real Nikki somewhere deep inside. It was a beautiful prison. Golden gates, velvet walls, but a prison nonetheless. And as I grew older, that quiet voice inside me, the one that kept asking, "Who are you, really?" started getting louder, until I couldn't ignore it anymore. At 18, when everyone expected me to join an Ivy League university and eventually take over a family company, I shocked everyone. I applied to an art and design school, in secret, under a different last name. And when I got accepted, I packed my bags and left. Not for Paris or London, but a modest apartment in New York City. It was the first time I had ever washed my own clothes, cooked for myself, paid rent. I was terrified. But for the first time in my life, I was also alive. Art school wasn't easy. I had to prove myself. No one knew about my last name, and I liked it that way. My classmates were raw, passionate, and real. They didn't care about my jewelry. They cared about my perspective. I painted like my life depended on it. I found inspiration in subways, strangers' faces, and city lights. I sold my first painting at a local exhibit for $300. That $300? It meant more to me than any gift I'd ever received, because I earned it. I didn't inherit it. Now, at 22, I'm still learning who I am. I haven't rejected my past, but I no longer let it define me. I visit my family, but I don't apologize for taking a different path. I've built a name for myself in the art world, slowly but steadily. And more importantly, I've found my voice. I've learned that true wealth isn't about what you own. It's about knowing your worth.